for a little slideshow. And as you know, it's cold outside. So anyway, the panel's only going to go better uphill from here. Can't see the screen. All right. So I don't know if any of you guys have been to any of these kind of panels before. I usually just do like a lot of Q&A, but I decided to do something a little different. And I pulled out some pictures from my iPhoto library to share with you. And I went on Twitter and I asked people, like, well, what do you want to see? Do you want to see like vacation photos or compromising pictures of other professionals? Because I got a lot of those. Or work in progress, how I kind of work and draw, or unseen art. Sorry, there's a lot of it. Whew. Anyway, so one of the cool things about panels before the internet was that you can kind of say stuff, go on through crap, and show things knowing that it wasn't going to really leave the room. In today's day and age, I see a bunch of cameras up already. It's kind of hard to do that. But I'm going to show you some stuff, and let's just go with it. So, if you could refrain from taking pictures of some of the stuff and putting online, that would be great, but I know that might be impossible. Just something. I'm just kidding. I have a lot of that stuff. I thought I'd really focus on how I work and maybe show you some pieces of things I've done in progress, and then I think I probably loaded too many photos on this. But then hopefully we'll leave a little time for Q&A. So we have like an hour. So, all right. I'll start with, how many of you guys have been to panels where I've kind of talked about my work before? All right. See, I always feel like it's the same group of people, and I always feel like I'm boring you guys with the same details. But the fact that there's so much turnover, maybe we just say the same stuff over and over. But anyway, so this is a work in progress, and hopefully I'll have it refined by San Diego Comic-Con, so you guys are really my test audience. So feel free to tweet me at Jim Lee, if you have any thoughts and comments while we're working on it. Check my Twitter feed and tell me how I'm doing. So anyway, let's start with oh wait, you can see everything on the screen. This is my family. We're on vacation, as you can tell. We don't normally ride on horses. Although how cool would that be, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So with Carla's mom, that's my wife, so that represents all of us, even though one of the people is missing and is represented by a friend, but we're just horseback riding. This is my dog. All right, I have all this stuff really for the moms of kids that are into comics here, and for girlfriends that really aren't into comics at all. So I have interspersed little bits for you. Anyway, all right, so that's my dog, and she's leaning out of the moonroof in the car. She's all dolled up. Okay, so I'm gonna go. This is some art. So usually when I work, a lot of times I'll take photos with my iPhoto or my iPhone, and just for posterity, and also just because I figure someday maybe put a book together or do some sort of demonstration like this where I kind of walk you through the process. And if you follow my Twitter feed, you see a lot of this stuff. So for those of you who aren't on Twitter, just going to walk you through a bunch of different things. So this is a pinup I did for a Vertigo book called DMZ. And as you can see, when I ink myself, which is what I'm doing, you can see the looseness of the pencils. And if you've seen any of my full pencil stuff, you see that everything's figured out, all the The blacks are spotted, every line is pretty crisp, and you can see a lot of underdrawings. Can you see this, actually? Is it pretty clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, screen. Okay. There is a full screen, right?
Bottom left.
Yeah, there you go. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Actually, can we dim the lights a little bit? That might help too. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Right. So, a lot of people ask what I work with. So it's microns. It's a permanent marker, and they come in all sizes from 0.001 all the way to 8, or 0.8 millimeters. All right. So it's more the same. So you kind of pull back a little bit. You see, I kind of just jump around, but all of it was pretty much in the state that you see the pencils, and so I'm just going with ink and just adding sort of texture and detail. And on this piece, because it was Vertigo, I tried to do something that wasn't as slick as what you might see in the DC universe. I think it's a subtle kind of change, but really at the end of the day, I wanted to do something a little more hand-done, where the lines weren't as crisp and clean, and you sort of saw like little ink blots, and it just had kind of a hairier, sketchier line to it. And so if you look at the guy's wristband, you see the textures there. And so a lot of that stuff, when it gets shrunk down in color, will turn to black. But I like knowing the fact that the original actually has that little bit of texture to it. And maybe like 10% or 5% of it shows up in the final image. But if that's what ends up happening, I feel like it's worth putting in the original, because you want to have, as much as you want to have a very strong composition, it's the little details, I think, that really kind of make or break a lot of pieces. Okay, so I'm jumping, like I said, I just grabbed them off iPhoto, so they're all in different chronological order. This is actually, obviously New 52. We did a lot of new costume designs, and so this was actually the first take I had on Superman. So you see he had the red trunks and changed the belt, and he had more of this sort of knee-high armor that. So this is one you wouldn't want to photograph. But anyway, so he had sort of knee-high armor, and so we did different variations where he didn't have the red trunks. You can see that. Endless hours of entertainment at home. And then he had like this more evil guys, and so he had something like this, but obviously we didn't go with it. But we ended up doing lots and lots of these kinds of things. And in fact, for the New 52, the amount of sketches that were done for the final costumes, I mean, is pretty staggering. And not just the stuff I did, but Cully Hamner contributed a lot of the artwork. The artists on the various books all contributed to different things. And Mark Chiarella gave copious notes. This stuff, it's really jumping around, so excuse me. All these are business cards that I drew on the back, and I was trying to come up with something that I felt was optimized. I'm going to talk about digital comics for a second. So I was trying to figure out, like, what is about comics on your iPhone that would make it appealing to read. And it's interesting because Marvel just announced something with, I think, Nova, or no, not Nova. They're doing something that's based on something called the Infinite Canvas, which is basically what you have on your screen. You would tap it and you would go through a story. So you don't actually have a page that's constructed by panels and you're going through panel by panel. You're actually, the whole screen is being used to tell a story and kind of control it. And so we had this idea of doing something similar, and I was trying to do a test case where I used the back of these business cards, because it actually is about the same size as the iPhone. And it's just basically a story with very simple art. I figure if you're going to read something on your iPhone, it's optimized for your iPhone. The graphics have to be pretty big and bold. So like my normal art probably would not translate very well into an iPhone, because all those little lines will either disappear. And you want to see something that you can read very quickly and read. When I say read, but you can look at it, interpret, and understand what you're looking at very quickly. And then the dialogue would have to be in a larger font, so again, you could read it from sort of an arm's distance. And that it would be fairly quick.